Welcome to I Am Well podcast. I am your host, Gemma, a nutritionist and mindset coach passionate about all things health and wellness. I'm going to take you on a journey to discovering what health means for you and how to create a life you love living. I'm on a mission to uplift those who feel overwhelmed with what it means to be healthy, reminding you, my listeners, that nutrition is only one aspect of health, and empower you to live your best life on your terms. Let's get to it. Hello, and welcome back to I Am Well podcast. I have a few exciting things to announce. First off, Balance, my group program that goes for 3 months, is officially launching today at about 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if you would like to be one of the women who are going to be surrounded by other like-minded women, all wanting to create this healthy lifestyle for themselves, empower each other, bring on that oxytocin that I've been talking about, then this is the program for you. This is about achieving those health results that you have always wanted to do, but each year you never fully get there. And it's about creating community too, because community, I feel like, is really key in doing this. And I think that's where a lot of women fall short on. They all kind of want to do it themselves, and they all, have these big plans to do it themselves. And you can, 100% you can, but it's a lot harder. And having women there who build you up, like I have learned from experience doing my own mastermind classes with groups of women, it's so empowering. And it's life-changing. It really is. In saying that, I literally have a guest on today, Gabi. She is doing the wellness retreat with me. We're collaborating together. And she's a woman that I actually met in the online world. We really hit it off just in Instagram DMs. Personally, when I started having kids, I was at an age where a lot of people around me, like I was 24 at the time, a lot of women around me at that age weren't having kids as much. And I was really closed off. I didn't want to meet anyone. I was very shy. And now I wish I had the confidence that I have now to create that community. Like, community is so important. And I think at the time I was like, I don't need friends. Like, I've got my mom, I've got my sister. I really don't need a big group of friends. But it's been so obvious how much I actually did need that community. And having Gabi by my side, meeting other women in the industry through the online space, and then going into my own, like I got my own coach this year, and being surrounded with, I've been surrounded by 10 other women where we have a group chat together, we all lean on each other. It's definitely proven to me that we need this more. And this is the key to achieving our goals. So if this is something like that you need, and you're hearing this and you're like, yes, I need this in my life. I need this group of women around me to support me, to hold me accountable, to celebrate my wins with me, to make me not feel alone on this health journey that I'm on, then intakes are open today. So the women that are on the wait list, you will have received an email already. You get first priority to sign up. You're already in the private Facebook group. Actually, for some of the women that have joined the wait list, I have sent you the emails to join the private Facebook group, but I know there's a few of you that haven't actually signed up yet. So reminder, please sign up to the Facebook group. It's where I'm going to share extra knowledge. It's where we're going to empower each other. We'll also have our group message for the women actually within the 3-month program. But yeah, this is just a lifetime. Facebook is just the lifetime group access that you'll have. So I'm very excited, and I can't wait to meet all you amazing women that want to do this health journey with me. And, I'm going to teach you everything I know. Obviously, I'm a nutritionist, so I've got the nutrition background, but everything that I've learned from mindset, from hormones, from, building these communities, That's what's key, and that's what I know is going to be the big difference between you making and finally achieving your results compared to setting those goals at the start of the year and then getting halfway through going, it's not going to happen, which I know I have done time and time again. So balance is open at the moment. I will put the link in the show notes below. Go and join us. All you have to do is sign up and pay. There's 2 options to pay. You can pay up front or you can pay monthly. So it's very accessible to everyone. And if you're still on the fence, you can always book a coaching call with me. It's completely free and we can kind of go through the options for you if this is relevant to you, if this is something that you do need, if you want a bit more specifics around the program, book this free coaching call. Otherwise, go ahead and sign up. Anyway, with that, I have Gabi on, as I said, with me today's podcast, and it was an amazing chat that we had. She, literally, it went for so long. I was like, Gabi, we need to stop and I need to get you back on because we just both, you can tell when we're talking about this, we're both so passionate. She's got an amazing story and her knowledge, and I can't wait for the women that are coming to the wellness retreat because it's gonna be so good. I know I'm pumping this up a lot, but I actually truly believe it deep-heartedly that this is gonna be amazing. And I'm so excited. I've literally booked my family and I a little staycation when we go up to the Brisbane retreat, when we do that there. And we're staying there 2 nights. So I'm so excited because I'm making a thing of it. Then Gabi and I are going to go out for a dinner afterwards, which I'm excited about. So if you're keen on still coming to the wellness retreat and you've missed out on the Brisbane one, because unfortunately Brisbane's location is fully booked now, which is amazing. It sold out so quick. We still have 5 spots left for Gold Coast. So if you want to grab your friends, do what I'm doing. Make a staycation out of it, Come down to the Gold Coast. It is on the North Gold Coast. We're not too far down. It's definitely north. It's actually right near Movie World. So it's really not that far down. So if you are coming from Brisbane, don't worry, it's not too much of a trek, but make a thing of it. Book a staycation, book an Airbnb. That's what I'm doing. And I'm so excited. Anyway, with that, let's get into today's episode. Today, I have on my friend Gabi. I am sure you would have heard me talk about her already within one of my episodes. I really we'll go into how we met, but she is just a wonderful woman. And I am just so excited to have her on today because her knowledge, the things that she's experienced, I just know you're going to benefit so much out of today's episode. So without further ado, I just want to say, welcome, Gabi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. That was the best introduction. I felt so loved. That was really, really lovely. No, I'm super excited to be jumping on your podcast today. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. Gabi is the one that we are doing. We're holding a wellness retreat in Brisbane and Gold Coast in June and July. And it's all around women's cycles and a little bit of low tox in your home there too. And Gabi's really the go-to person for this. She's a Pilates instructor, a dance teacher, a school teacher. You teach primary school too, don't you? Is it primary?
Yes, I do. Yes. So that is how I started teaching. Oh, goodness, 2013. So it's been 11 or 12 years now. So yeah, primary teaching, dance teaching, got into Pilates, all the things.
So much, which is why you're just a wealth of knowledge in the health and wellness industry. So it's great to have you on today. It's so funny how we met. We met literally on social media, literally on Instagram. And for me, that's so out of my comfort zone. It used to be. I would never just randomly meet someone on social media, but I remember you reached out and I remember I was oh, I love her page. I love what she's all about. You know what? I'm going to I'm going to respond. And usually for me, like I'm such like a social anxiety kind of person at the time. I was like, I didn't, I was very nervous. And then we just started chatting and it was so organic and you were so lovely. And then we
Oh,
realized like how much like we have in common too.
yeah, it was crazy. Like, I feel it must be at least 9 months. Like, it would be coming close to
Yeah.
a year that I just started. I think for me, when I connect with people online, it's like people that resonate with me or where I am in my life. So for me, I was looking for other people that were sort of in the health and wellness industry or other mums with young kids going through the trenches because, I'm a first time mum with twin toddlers that, it's just, yeah, it's mind blowing. So yeah, for me, it was just, I like to connect with people that, resonate with, the things that I value and where I am in my life. And I was like, oh, I could see you had young kids and you were, delving into the health and wellness and with your journaling. And I was like, yeah, I like this girl. Let's connect.
Yeah. And then like we both realized we both had kids, but then also we've both been with our partners for the same amount of time, like and married the same amount of time too. Like we've
Yep.
both been with our partners for I'm gonna say this wrong now. Is it 11 years? I'm
Yeah.
asking you because I know
Yeah,
what
no,
to
no,
say.
and yeah, it's 11 years. So I met Kim beginning of 2013, like when I first started teaching. So, and then September will be 6 years that we've been married.
Yeah, and our 6 years was in, oh my God, March. Why am I forgetting at the moment? Yeah, which is so crazy. Like, how is like, it's just so weird. And then we've both just like had so many like stories that have been like so similar. So it's just, and we both were dancers. We were
That's
dancers growing up too.
Yeah, yeah. And it was not even just like a passion. Like it was just like you were obviously dancing overseas. When I went through, oh goodness, it would be close to 15 years of dancing in all different styles. And then I went into dance teaching while I was studying uni, teaching kids. So I guess it was more than just a passion for both of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were so many similarities. I was like, yeah, I like her. We're definitely gonna be friends.
Yeah. I love that. It's so funny how like, it just felt like the universe pushed us together, like we were just supposed to meet. So I kind of want to talk about a bit about today, a bit about your story, kind of, just to get everyone to get to know Gabi.
Absolutely.
Um, and I know you're so all about the mindfulness practices, like and you teach it so well. Like I went to your last retreat and we really talked about stress and trauma and how it can bring about, still come out in this everyday life now and really affect you. And the tools that you gave and even the meditation you put us through, like it was all so amazing. And I just love what you're teaching really to other women. How did you first get started into that? Like where did this all come about?
Yeah, so for me, it all started coming up to 9 years ago. So I used to like, I guess, go to bed at night and I would be so grateful. Everything was really pretty good in my life. I hadn't, I had met Cam at the time. So we'd been together, oh goodness, like, yeah, maybe 2 years, if that. I was teaching and I was in my early career teaching and I was healthy and happy and had all my friends and all these things. And then it was the day after Father's Day 2015 that my dad had a major stroke, um, which led to him passing away a couple of days after. And that was a big, that was just the biggest thing that could have erupted in my life. It was huge. I had never sort of experienced loss so close to me and at such a young age. Like I was, 20, 24, 25 when dad had passed away. And that just really shook me. Even in my close circle now, there's not many people that I know that have experienced loss that's so close to you at such a young age. My best friend was probably my rock at the time because she had also lost her dad when she was 17. So, she was able to support me, I guess, in that time. But for me, I think the biggest thing that I had noticed after dad had passed away was I compartmentalized a lot of my grief, because I had seen my mum, who is the most outgoing, selfless, amazing person. Like, she is my inspiration. If I can be half the mum that she is, like, I know that I've done an amazing job. Like, she is incredible. But to see her completely fall apart and just, you know, reside in her room for months at a time, it was just like I felt like I just couldn't express how I was feeling. I just wanted to be strong. I wanted to be her rock. I didn't want her to see me fall apart. And I think my sister, to some degree, was the same. So yeah, I know I had compartmentalized a lot of my grief and sort of just tried to get on and be there for her, and it wasn't healthy. It wasn't. And I see that now, and I'll get into the mindfulness stuff in a moment. But for me, I think after dad passed away, like, obviously being a dancer, and I love dance because, it's so expressive as well. Like, you can really express how you're feeling. There's such a deep connection to dance for me. Like, that's why I'm so passionate about it. But after dad passed away, I felt like I wasn't ready to personally go back into being the dancer. Like, was just the dance teacher and the primary school teacher. But I wanted to move my body, and I tried different forms of exercise and nothing had really stuck. I tried different gyms and was doing the CrossFit and all the things. I enjoyed a little bit of kickboxing and boxing for a while, but again, it didn't really stick. And then it was about 6 months after dad had passed away, and I was like, I just needed something. I needed something for me because, like I said, I just compartmentalized a lot of the grief and just tried to move on, which wasn't healthy. And I met my beautiful Pilates instructor, who I've known now for the last sort of 8.5 years. I actually taught her daughter in prep. So Susie's become like one of my longtime family friends, and she got me into Pilates, and I have just fallen madly in love with it ever since. I know now it's becoming more of like a fad, and there's like Pilates gyms everywhere, particularly like with reformers and things like that. But I had initially trained in mat Pilates, and yeah, she has shaped me. She has helped shape me to the instructor that I am today. But for me, I think it was just beyond exercising the physical. Like, it was, for me, it was more that mind body connection and actually doing something for myself, I guess, releasing some of the things that I was feeling, but not to the extent that I have now. So it was sort of like the baby step. It was my foundation on my wellness journey. That was my starting point, was finding something that I loved that helped me not only physically but also mentally and emotionally, because I could sort of develop that mind body connection. It wasn't just about the exercise. I was learning more about the breath. So then I started to get into a bit of breath work from the Pilates. So yeah, I guess that was my starting point. And then, I sort of fast forward a couple of years. My husband and I got married in 2018, which was amazing. Hard not having dad there and missing, a lot of those things that you would like your dad to be there for on your wedding day. But we got married, and I knew, like, well, we both knew, but I knew that I definitely wanted to start a family. Like, that was really important to me. It's always been important to me. I love children. Obviously, I'm a teacher, but I wanted to start my own family. And so after my wedding, I had come off the pill. And I know this is a very like spicy subject, because a lot of people have had different experiences with the pill, positive and negative. And that's like a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But I had come off the pill thinking that I was just, yeah, going to fall pregnant and happy days and everything will be nice and easy. And coming off the pill was another huge whirlwind in my life. Like, I didn't realize how much it affected me mentally. I just had so much fogginess. I was questioning everything. Like, I was like, oh, do I even want to be a primary school teacher? Why did I get married? Why did I do this? It's like I was questioning everything, and I just felt like I had no control. I had no control over my emotions. I had no control over what my body was doing. I was gaining weight. I was losing weight. Everything was fluctuating. So I had been on the pill, I guess, on and off since I was about 16. I went on because I first got my period when I was about, I think I was close to 15. And each cycle, I was just horrendous. Like I was physically ill, like to the point where I was vomiting. I was in so much pain. And I was prescribed the pill I was about 16 and a half to help that. And look, it did, like it helped. It helped. I wasn't physically ill. Most of my cycles were manageable. Um, but for me personally, it masked a lot of things that I wasn't aware of. And I guess reflecting back now, I wish that maybe there was more investigation into, my diet or stress or environmental toxins. Like there was probably, and I guess a lot of women, that are listening to this podcast they're probably nodding their head and saying the same thing. I really wish that other things were looked into other than just going straight on there. But you just didn't know, and you trust, like you trust medical professionals. And look, that's not to say like they are incredible. And a lot of my beautiful best friends are nurses and they are amazing, but they also agree. I think it's about education. I guess it's about education and knowing more, and listening to different experiences and reaching out for different tools, and a combination of Western and Eastern medicine. I don't think that we need to go gun-ho one way or the other. I think it's having that balance of both. But anyway, going off on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, I'd come off the pill and that was a big spiral for me. I spiraled down, and anyone who knows me personally knows that I'm pretty happy, positive, energetic sort of person. And I was completely the opposite. Like I didn't even recognize myself. And again, now that I reflect back on that time, I feel like I probably was experiencing some depression. Um, Definitely for a couple of months, because yeah, again, and I would definitely say it was the withdrawal from the pill. And
Mm-hmm.
I was then, yeah, so 6 months after I came off the pill, I was diagnosed with amenorrhea. So it was absence of period. And then further testing was done, and I was diagnosed with quite severe PCOS. So that's polycystic ovarian syndrome. And it wasn't just that I had the cysts on my ovaries, it was the whole syndrome. So I had really abnormal hormone levels. I had really high testosterone levels. I was producing like no progesterone, like nothing at all. Um, which obviously would contribute to why I was feeling just so all over the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Well, progesterone brings that calming effect. And if you're not having progesterone, you wouldn't feel calm ever. You wouldn't feel the need to relax ever.
no, no. And again, like reflecting back, I think about that period of my life, and I was feeling really burnt out, like from work, and there was obviously a lot of unresolved trauma and grief that I was still holding on to that I really never processed. So I guess all of these sorts of things, were contributing to these abnormal, a lot of these hormonal imbalances. And then yeah, coming off the pill. So I, like I said, I was just all over the shop, and I was like, I don't want to be like this, because for me, I was in this really negative mindset, and I was playing the victim. There was a lot of victimization that was going on at the time. Like, it's all me. Why is it me? Everything bad happens to me. It's bad enough that I lost dad, and now, I'm not going to have any children, because my specialist at the time had said, you've got 5% chance of falling pregnant naturally. Um, and yeah, so I was just not in a good mental state. And I was prescribed different medications to try and kickstart ovulation to get a period. And that was also throwing me for six. One of the medications, I like went blurry in one eye, for a period of time. That was really scary. I was having really severe headaches and migraines. And yeah, it was just, I just like even now, like I think about 2019, and it was just, it gives me the shivers because it was just a really like downward spiral year for me, which is really sad because, you know, the previous year I got married and I was on such a high. It was such a good, you know, a good time. There was so much excitement about the wedding and a honeymoon and all of that. And then we'd gone into this year and, you know, everything sort of went down. And I guess one of the hardest things also was my sister had got married the same year as I, 6 months earlier. And when I was diagnosed with the amenorrhea and the PCOS and that, which was around March 2019, my sister had just started trying for a baby herself and fallen pregnant her first go. And as much as I was so happy for her, and she knows this, it was really hard as well because I was starting this journey, you know, of I have no idea how long this is going to take and where I'm going and what's going to happen. Um, so yeah, I guess we were trying different medications and nothing was really working. And yeah, I just knew I needed to do something else. And I love my Pilates, and it was definitely helping, you know, that mind body connection and just moving my body. And but I needed to delve more into my mental health and my emotional health, and that's when I started to jump into meditation and mindfulness. And anyone who's listening who's, you know, haven't tried meditation or dabbled with it, I totally get you, because when I first started, I had no clue what
Yeah.
I was doing. Like nothing at all. I was like, okay, do I just sit here? Do I close my eyes? Do I breathe? Like, what do I do? And then I was like, do I hold my fingers? Like, can I
Yeah.
pray? And I had no idea. And I was just like watching people and listening to people. And when I first started meditating, like all I could handle was literally 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then my thoughts were like, bing, 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 bing. Like, what am I doing today? Okay, what do I need to cook for dinner? Like, I just couldn't switch off my brain. But I guess I practiced more. I started to read more about it. And I started to gain a bit more clarity. And I guess for me, the biggest shift that I noticed when I started to do some meditation was it was calming my nervous system. And it was a really good way to set up my day, because at that time, you know, I was still in the classroom, and being an early years teacher, you know, I was teaching prep year one, year two. You have to, you know, put out a lot of energy. Like it's a lot of energy throughout the day, a lot of excitement to get them engaged, you know, for learning. So I guess I was giving so much of my energy that I wasn't getting it always back in return. And that's why I always use that analogy, like you've got to fill up your cup before you can pour into other people's cup. And for me, I think I was pouring so much into the kids that I was teaching and I just wasn't getting it back. So meditation was a form of filling up my cup, you know. And that was, I guess, my next layer on my wellness journey, or my like wellness house, as I like to say, or my toolkit, you know. I started with the Pilates and then I built in the meditation. And I just, the more I learned about it and the more I guess was able to, you know, sit in the meditation, you know, for longer, I, yeah, noticed so many benefits. And it actually led me to then do my study in meditation teaching. So I learned about, you know, meditation teaching, holistic counseling. Um, and then that also led me to my behavioral coaching. So, and that's where we delve more into mindfulness techniques. So, you know, obviously meditation is one form, but we looked at other mindfulness techniques, you know, like grounding techniques, breath work, journaling. And journaling was actually another thing that I started with my meditation in 2019. And again, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, what do I write? Do I write what I did for the day? But for me, it was coming from a place of gratitude because I wanted to come out of that victimization role. And that's, I guess, the crux of mindfulness is, you know, coming into that present moment and thinking about, okay, where are you at presently? What can you be grateful for right now, you know? And you know, you start with the big things, like I'm so grateful for my family, and I'm so grateful for my house and having a roof over my head, and I'm so grateful for, you know, the food in my fridge. um But then you get to like the little things, like I'm just so grateful that I have a jumper. Like I've got a jumper because it was so, you know, it was in the middle of winter. I was like, I'm so cold and I feel the cold and I'm so grateful. And you just go to like these little tiny things and I'm like, oh, you know, like there is just so much to be thankful for, you know, even though I'm going through this journey and I don't know where I'm going to end up, I can definitely find a place where I'm, you know, I'm grateful. And um, I started to feel better. Like I guess I started to feel better within myself. I started to get out of less of that negative fixed mindset and more into a growth mindset and more into like I guess hope as to what would happen. I also started to use crystals, and I know that that might be woo woo for some people,
Not
but
me.
I absolutely love crystals, and
Same.
I started to use them within my meditations, within my journaling, just drawing on energy that I needed for the day, you know, when I was teaching. Um, and yeah, I guess I fell in love with it. And, you know, that sort of went, you know, went into my journey for my fertility journey as well. So I was getting some support. Yeah, with the amenorrhea, I finally got my period back 14 months after having the pill, going
Oh,
off the pill.
wow. Yeah.
So it was, yeah, it was a long time. It's definitely a relief when I got that.
And were you like, was that the time that you were doing these mindfulness practices that you were like
Yeah.
and you had done your course in it as
No,
well? Or yeah.
I hadn't done my course yet, but I had been going. So I started the meditation and journaling. It was about April, May of 2019. Um, and I was also seeing a Chinese herbalist and an acupuncturist as well to help with my nervous system. So I think it was a culmination of a few things. And then I was also seeing a fertility specialist, helping with like hormone injections just to try and just kickstart my ovulation. It wasn't, yeah, it was just to try and, I guess, kickstart my body. And it was about December that year that, yeah, I had got my first period. And I definitely was in a different mental state then. I will tell you that. Like from that sort of May ish, you know, just those 6 months of, and I was consistent, you know, maybe not every single day, but pretty much every day I was doing some form of meditation or breath work, some form of journaling in and integrating that gratitude in there. You know, what can I be grateful for, particularly for that day? You know, like thank you so much to mum who cooked us dinner for the night. You know, and just simple things. And then yeah, got my period, and that was a big relief.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was really, really fortunate. My greatest blessing was 2020 July. I fell pregnant with the twins.
Yeah. Now you got a girl and a boy twin.
Yes,
Twin.
yes, I do. So that was a big, big surprise, you know,
Yeah.
double blessed. We did, you know, even on that journey, um, you know, tying into, I guess, the grief that I experienced from dad, there were some triggers on the journey because prior to falling pregnant with the twins, the March 2020, so a couple of months earlier, I had fallen pregnant um, with a baby girl and unfortunately miscarried. Um,
Mm.
so that was, yeah, that was quite
You've
traumatized.
been through so much already. Like, no wonder you had the thoughts of why me, like you did go through a lot. But I love that, everyone kind of wants a quick fix, and it makes sense, you just don't want to feel the pain anymore. So you do want a quick fix. So I feel like that's why we go to our doctors and we try to get quick answers. We try to get these medications, something quickly prescribed. And I know for myself, when I used to hear about meditation or when I used to hear about journaling, I would think of it as like some some form of like self-care practice, like putting a face mask on and laying down and being like, yeah, but that's not going to fix what's happening internally. Like internally, this is science. I need something science-based. So I need the medication. So like that's how I would think. And it's just doctors are like even some doctors now are actually looking at prescribing, meditation mindfulness practices because of how much they are giving the results that you needed. You can only get so far with medication. But if you're continuously stressed, continuously, out of sorts, you're going to have the high cortisol. That's going to create even more chaos within your body. So it makes sense that it finally happened when you started working on this for yourself and including these practices into your life. But I love that you are honest though about like, that you just felt like, why me, and being when playing the victim and stuff, because I can totally relate to that, because I was the same with when I got Hashimoto's, and I was just like, it's all because of this. It's all because I have an autoimmune condition, and it's easy to blame that. But trying to do the deeper work and the inner work, like that takes more guts. Like it's more like full in your face, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why I'm such an advocate now about finding ways to better manage stress. And I'm not saying that, stress is the only thing, because obviously I know that PCOS, the polycystic ovarian syndrome, has to do with diet as well. Has to do with a combination of things, weight and exercise and all of those things. But I feel like stress and just a dysregulated nervous system has so much to do with so many different illnesses, hormonal imbalances, infertility. Like I just feel like it's not even just what I think. Like there's more study coming out just showing the impact of stress and a dysregulated nervous system, what it can do to a person's health physically, mentally, emotionally. So I think that that's where I started to really kickstart that passion and that love of all things wellness and developing a wellness toolkit. Because as I say to everyone, I don't believe it's just one thing. I don't believe it's just nutrition or just exercising or just meditation and mindfulness or just the everyday things you're using in your home. I think it's a culmination of everything. And, and I know people listening might go, oh, that's just so overwhelming. There's a lot. But I think it's just about taking little steps and making small changes here and there to better your health through a holistic lens. If you can just be more mindful of the foods that you're eating and how that might trigger your body, because everyone's body is different. And I know we always talk about that, you and I, Gemma. And like, if you can just find an exercise or some form of movement that you enjoy, because I think everyone's body, again, is different and people are tailored. Some people really love that high intensity training or long distance running. Some people like, just going for a walk or doing more low intensity Pilates and stretching, and that's fine too. But finding a way to move your body, finding ways to integrate some sort of mindfulness, and just better manage your stress, through maybe it's some breath work, maybe it's, going out, standing in the grass, grounding yourself, listening to nature. Maybe it is a guided visualization. So jumping on, Spotify or something and finding a 5-10 minute meditation that guides you through. Maybe it is just sitting in solitude and silence just for 2 to 5 minutes and just listening to your breath. But finding a way to really ground yourself and calm your nervous system, it's so important. And then I guess, delving into, the everyday toxins is being more mindful of the things that you're using in your home and on your body.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, that's, I'm the exact same. I'm a nutritionist, mindset coach as well, but I don't believe it's just all about what you eat either. 100, and that's why I include these practices within my own life. And it's why I've even, for a while there, and I'm still working on it, trying to low tox my household, because I know how crazy it is. Like, I literally have been learning more about this in the last week and how insane it is, how many toxins are in our foods, just in everyday life, just any, like, it's hard. It's like impossible to get away from something that is highly, highly toxic for us. Like plastics there's so many microplastics within our bodies that we've ingested over years. And it's not our fault. It's just, that's what's out there. And, you can't really avoid it. But there are things that you can do to better avoid getting to that maximum toxic load. And I love when I came to you, you had already done it for a few years. I think you've already been low toxing your home before we met for like 3 years or so, was it?
Oh, probably less than that. I think now it's been about about 2.5 years that I've
Yeah.
successfully done that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, because I was trying to low tox my household, but I started with my containers. I was like, we're not doing
Yeah.
plastic containers anymore. We're going to glass. So at least like I was like, I think I remember telling you that when we first met.
Yeah.
But you were already using all these cleaning stuff, and I was just like, oh my God. Like I had used other cleaning stuff in the past, but yeah, then I got, off that again, went back to the chemicals from the supermarket. And then I was talking to you and I loved Young Living. You introduced me to this product only because they just had a wide variety of, natural organic products, and that you can all make it up yourself, like make little concoctions. It's cheaper in the end. And yeah, I'm obsessed. But as you said, you can do it in little increments. And that's what I'm doing for myself. And that's what you've taught me. So if anyone is listening and they're like, how do I even start low toxing my home? Go follow Gabi on Instagram. It's My Bliss Oasis.
Yeah.
Yep. And just DM her. Just message her, see what she does. But she's like got so much knowledge around how to low tox your home. And I really think, like, for myself, I just think that's a good place to start. You can start elsewhere, and I'll let you talk about that. But I just think, like, yeah, low toxing your home's a good place to start for me. But yeah, I love Young Living, like literally love their products.
Yeah, yeah. And like for me, when I say like the last 2.5 years successfully, I started to dabble with low toxing or choosing more healthier, safer options for my home when I found out about the PCOS and I was going through the fertility journey, because there are studies and there are people that, work in the, IVF labs and so forth. And they are not allowed to wear any perfume or cologne or deodorants and things like that, because it can affect the embryo transfers and that. And I was like, it was just started to open my eyes, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then I started to learn about fragrance. So I'll just share a couple of things that I've been learning over my low tox journey. So fragrance is something that you will find in a lot of everyday products, shampoos, body washes, even in your perfumes, dishwashing soaps, all the things, laundry detergent. And I had no clue as to how harmful fragrance or perfume, sometimes I'll put perfume, can be, because even when you're looking at, you go to the shops and you see like the eco-friendly and nature this and vegan and healthy and all of these beautiful, wonderful labels and things like that. It's not unless you actually turn over in the back and you actually read some of the ingredients, and look, there are so many chemicals out there. I could list hundreds, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I really noticed was fragrance and just how harmful it is. So fragrance, the term fragrance, it's an umbrella term, and pretty much any manufacturer corporation can put up to like 3,000 different chemicals under that label, and they actually don't need to disclose it because the fragrance is like a trade secret,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
just mind blowing. So I felt like, at the time, and this is going back 2019, so this was like, 5.5 years ago, whatnot. I was like, I didn't know what fragrance was at the time, but I was like, okay, so I just started to pick all these, different healthy this, eco-friendly that. And I didn't realize that half the things that I was buying was actually not doing me any good either, because they were filled with fragrance or perfume, which is, like I said, they can put anything they want under that umbrella term and they don't legally have to disclose it. And yeah, so that's why I feel like when I jumped into Young Living, and that's not to say that there aren't incredible other natural
Mhm.
organizations out there, but I had a girlfriend that was using Young Living, and I saw all the benefits that she was having with her child with eczema. I had my babies by then, and Sienna had a really sensitive skin. So I guess for me, the reason why I delved into using essential oils, so after, testing and trying and not having the greatest success with all these, natural, so-called natural
Yeah,
things,
natural. Mm.
um, I got into using essential oils and creating my own things because of a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to regulate my hormones. So I had been able to have these two beautiful babies, and my doctor at the time was like, okay, you can jump back on the pill now, which I'm sure a lot of listeners out there, maybe mums, would have heard the same thing after having kids, as a form of contraceptive, because there is a high likelihood of you falling pregnant again, especially straight after having kids. And I was like, no, like I was just traumatized after coming off the pill. I just did not even want to go there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to regulate my hormones. I didn't want to spiral back either. I really wanted to balance my hormones
Yeah.
naturally. I wanted a long-term solution, not just something that I could, orally take, I guess, and I'm not against medication at
Fix.
all, but I wanted a long-term natural solution. So that was one of the reasons. At the time, we had found out that my mother-in-law, so Cam's mum, was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So she had secondary cancer. It had metastasized around her body, and
Yeah.
again, that was a huge trigger for me
Hmm.
because I had already lost dad. Right before I had my babies, I had lost my grandma, who was like my second mum, because growing up, I spent every afternoon with my grandma, my
Yeah.
nonna. So I had lost pretty much my second mum. I had lost a baby before I fell pregnant with the twins. I'd already experienced so much loss that was very close to me. And again, this is not a competition. I'm sure that there are many other people out there that have
No,
experienced
yeah, but
loss. But
mm,
it was a lot in a short amount of time for someone that was so young as well. And then, hearing this news, I saw my husband experience high anxiety. He internalizes a lot of his anxiety, but he was having high anxiety. He was having trouble sleeping, and I wanted a natural solution for him. So it was like I wanted to balance my hormones. I wanted to help him with his sleep and his anxiety. And I guess I wanted safer options for my kids. They were rolling around the floors, licking their tidy trays, all the
yeah,
things. And I was like, what are they actually ingesting? And then, I started to read more, from like amazing, doctors and medical professionals saying, just how toxic all these things that we were using in our home. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was so eye-opening. And that's how I sort of fell into using essential oils and replacing a lot of the off-the-shelf, commercial cleaners, for example, that I was using. And then, rather than medication, using oils to help calm, Cam, and help him, get into a more relaxed state for sleep, and then helping with my hormones and balancing my hormones. And there was just a multitude of reasons why I fell into, low toxing or swapping, ditching and switching a lot of things in my home. And it wasn't something that I did all at once either. I did it gradually, as we were saying, because, it became more cost effective for me. And I was able to actually understand what I was doing and successfully implement it, because I feel like sometimes if you go gun ho and jump into doing everything, you just fall apart, and then you just go back to the things that you were originally using. But if you do it in little steps and you actually implement it a few times, it becomes a habit. It's like
yeah,
anything. Right?
yeah,
And yeah, I started to switch over the things that I was cleaning my home with. Now the things that I use in my home, like my kids literally help me clean. They help me clean. They're there. They can breathe it in. Even if they were even to take a sip of the household cleaner that I use, like the warning, like it literally says just to sip water to flush it out. Whereas a lot of the ones that you buy off the shelf, it's like Poison's hotline, take them
go to the
to
hospital right
emergency,
now.
go
Yeah.
to the hospital, they could die.
Yeah. And it's just crazy that there are alternatives out there, but we don't get told that.
No,
Because if we did, they wouldn't make as much money.
exactly right, exactly. And statistics, like every year in Australia, there's like 100 and over 140,000 calls to Poison's hotline for
Yeah.
kids that are ingesting household cleaners,
Yeah.
laundry detergents, things like that, dishwashing tablets.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
now I make my own. I've replaced a lot of the things. I use essential oils to help, with sleep, to help with emotions. Like there is just so many different things to help with hormones, that time of the month, you know, if you're feeling a
Yeah.
bit bloated or tender. Like there was just so many alternatives. And yeah, so that's sort of how I got into low toxing my home, and I just haven't looked back, you know. And yeah, it's just really eye opening that, you know. And I guess anyone who's listening, you know, a little bit of homework, go and have a look at the things in your home. See how many things, flip over the labels, see how many things actually have fragrance in them or perfume, because that's a really dangerous thing. You know, that is really, really
Yeah.
dangerous. Sort of undoing, you know, even if you're trying to be healthier or safer, it's sort of undoing, you know, what you're trying to achieve.
I'm just starting to like delve into like all the essential oil stuff now. So I definitely need you back on here for like another episode to talk all on essential oils, because like I'm just like there's so much knowledge out there about them that we just don't know about, and what you can do with them. It's just awesome. I love how you can make so many different concoctions and, and stuff. I
I
love
know.
making.
I feel like I'm like a bit of like a witch, like
I know,
sometimes.
same. I actually get so excited to make up like my laundry detergent because I'm like, oh, I get to mix in this and I'll pop in this and this. And I'm like, oh, it's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's so much fun. And I guess like a few women have like asked me, so what are like the differences between like oils and companies and things like that? And I think that's one other thing to be mindful of, is because like a lot of industries, essential oils, the industry is unregulated. So for them to, like, for example, lavender, if you wanted to get lavender for sleep and whatnot, any company just has to put a minimum of 5% of the pure essential oil in their bottle, and that can be classified as lavender. And then they can fill the other 95% with water or synthetic fragrance or anything. So that's why there is a difference in price points between ones that you might get from, you know, some of the big chain stores. I'm not going to use names, but
Yeah.
and they might only be a couple of dollars, like $3 or $4, and then the ones that you might get from the health food store or from Young Living or from another, you know, reputable company, and it might be $20 compared to $4, you know,
Yeah.
because that cheaper oil might be predominantly filled with water or synthetic fragrance. And again, undoing the purpose of what you're trying to achieve, which is using a pure, natural, high grade support to help you for whatever you need, whether it's sleep or anxiety or you're cleaning your home or whatnot. So, yeah,
It's
just
so
something else.
frustrating. It's
I
like
know.
everyone's out there against us. We're like, okay, I'll start using essential oils. And it's like, oh, wait, no, but they're still dodgy ones. And you're
Yep.
like, oh my God.
But it's like you talking about foods as well. Like
Yeah.
the foods you're eating, you know, I think it's, you know, a lot of corners are being cut, you know, in
Yeah.
so many different industries, which is why there is such a difference in price points,
Yeah.
you know, because corners are being cut. And at the same time, I get why people are taking the cheaper ones, because the cost of living is skyrocketed, you know, so people want cheaper, faster alternatives. And I think that's the most frustrating thing for me,
Yeah.
is because, you know, you're wanting to be healthier, you wanting to do that for you and your family, but sometimes it can be at a higher price point. Like it can be cheaper to go feed a family of say 4 or 5 at McDonald's for dinner
Hmm.
than it might be to go and get a variety of fruits and vegetables and, you know, quality meat from, you know, your local butcher or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so I
I could do a whole episode on that too. Yeah.
know, I know, it's so frustrating. So I guess, yeah, for me, integrating that was sort of like the next layer of my wellness journey, was
Mhm.
low toxing, being more mindful of the things that, you know, obviously I was exposing my family to, but also myself, you know.
Mhm.
You know, there's a statistic out there that even says that women can put up to like 515 different chemicals in their body in one day.
Gee.
And
Yeah.
when you think about it, you think about all the products you use every day, like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, deodorant, perfume, you know, hairspray, makeup, like all of those things. And it does accumulate. Like,
It
yes,
adds up. Yeah.
your skin has layers to protect you, but also your skin is your largest organ, and it will absorb bits and pieces of these things that you're using. And there is such thing as bioaccumulation. So I guess a takeaway from today is, just being mindful of what you're using and how you might implement a safer, more, natural alternative in your home. But yeah, for me, that's why I sort of am so passionate about creating this wellness toolkit that, really integrates, some form of movement to suit you and your lifestyle, some sort of, mindfulness, meditation, low tox, more natural options, because it has helped me tremendously on my journey, and particularly with the grief that I have experienced over the years. Like I said, I lost my dad, I lost my grandma, we lost a baby. Unfortunately, in the last year and a half, I lost my mother in law as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of loss in a short period of time. And then through COVID, there was financial loss because we have a family business as well, another family business. And I guess there was just so much loss going on that I'm really grateful that I had these tools to support
Yeah.
me, to
Yeah.
help get me through these stages in my life. And now, really delving into the grief and starting to process this unresolved trauma, and nurture myself and look after my hormones, and more natural ways, and just be more aware of my body. And yeah, just help as many women, mums, people that have experienced grief in their life, just help them find tools, help them find ways to support themselves through a
Yeah.
holistic approach.
I love how passionate you are about this, because that passion that's what's going to help other women, because there's heaps of women going through what you've gone through, and they just don't have the access, the resources, the knowledge to access those tools that you were talking about. And that's what they are. They're tools that you can pick and choose from. So I love that. If anyone has listened and they've got anything, they've got more questions for Gabi, because I know she's got so much knowledge, but we only have so much time in one episode. Um, Please, I will link her Instagram in the show notes below. You can click on that, go to Instagram, send her a DM, even if it's just to say, oh my God, thank you for going on. That was amazing. Because I know we're all going to get so much out of this. And Gabi, also, if you live in, Gabi's got a few other retreats coming up throughout the rest of the year. So if you live in Brisbane, reach out, follow her page. She'll share it all. And I'll also have about the wellness retreats coming up in the show notes as well. But thank you so much, Gabi. Thank you so much for coming on. And we're going to have you back on, because there's just so much more we need to talk about.
Yes, I can't wait. We'll delve into all things mindfulness. Yes.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for having me. And I hope that this might help, someone
100%.
out there that you might, something may resonate with you, whether it be the hormonal side of things, the grief, just, yeah, the journey and stress. I think so many people can relate to stress, and yeah, finding ways to help manage that and just really live a grounded, calm, connected life, your happy life. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You're
thank
an
you.
amazing woman, Gabi.
Thank you so much. Can't wait for our retreat coming up.
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you so much. This has been awesome. All right, guys, I'll leave that there, and I will talk to you all in the next episode. Bye.